Morning, guys. It's Wednesday. It's May 17th. It's time for another episode of Come On Ref. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I'm with my man, Aidan Vance. Aidan, how you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great, ready to get going, ready to start.
We're going to be steering the ship without Ben Bales today, but that's fine. We can do that. Ben's got a family concern. We're thinking of him. He's in our thoughts for right now. And yeah, just want to, we got a great show. I mean, I got to talk about some NBA stuff. It's conference final time. I mean, one's underway, one starts tonight. The road to the NBA finals is paved, man. We can see the path now. We just got about another, week and a half or so to see who's going to be in the finals. We've got some other NBA news, some unfortunate NBA news, some other unfortunate NBA news, depending on the team that you root for. If you're a Spurs fan, you're happy. And we're going to talk about the Browns making another kind of surprising offseason move to bolster the defense, giving Jim Schwartz some shiny new weapons to throw at quarterbacks. So let's start in the NBA. We got to talk about the big story, right? I mean, did you get your lottery ticket, Aidan?
I did not. I live in
didn't either.
Cleveland.
I didn't think I had much of a chance to win, to be honest with you. It's always somebody in another state, and now it's Texas. Yeah. So the Spurs have somehow won the NBA draft lottery. They get the right to, well, I don't know. Who are they going to pick? I mean, is there a consensus number one overall pick or no? Where are we at?
I mean, I'm pretty sure there is. There's this guy,
There's
Victor Wembanyama. He's something like that. He's a pretty special from some people that are pretty smart that he's the best prospect ever. So we'll see.
Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look right now. So listen, the Spurs. Let's talk about this first, because people are going to say the NBA is rigged, right? They go from David Robinson to Tim Duncan to what? I mean, you can see it here. 7'3" Victor Wembanyama, age, what is he, 19 years old. He's from France. I'm sure he projects as a power forward center in the league. I don't think he's going to be playing small forward at 7'3". Moves like KD, shoots like, I don't know. Who do you compare him to?
As a shooter, he is like. It's hard because he doesn't he moves really well at super well for a 7'3", but it's not like he's like just blowing by people.
Right.
But I mean, he's got a really good handle. He kind of moves like KD in if he was 4 inches taller or something like that. But he also is a little bit different. I mean, he's coming in as a generational defensive prospect.
Yeah.
Unlimited shooting touch. It's just never that's why it's never seen before. He's 7'3", moves like a small forward, power forward, block shots like Hakeem. So it's kind of hard with the touch of a Dirk Nowitzki. So it's kind of hard to describe what he's going to be.
Yeah.
We've never seen it.
So. No, and prospects are prospects, and I know this guy. We talked about it. He might be the best prospect of all time. But you said it off the shot. You never know how these things translate to the NBA. He moves well for a 7'3" guy. He moves well for a 6'9" guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
like you said, you never know how this is going to translate to the NBA. I'm intrigued to see how this works out for the Spurs. I mean, you can see some of the skills. I mean, as the video is rolling right now. I mean, the shooting touch, the handles. I mean, the court vision. He's a great passer. Look at the touch on the layup there. Just obviously a great skill set. I think he's he's got a full cabinet of tools, right? I mean, is there anything he can't do? And is there anything he's limited in?
Right now, he's going to be limited in guarding certain players.
Mm-hmm. He's a little thin.
When he plays I don't think he'll start his career as a center because of the way he's built. Okay. I don't think he can take that physical punishment yet. Yeah. Against certain guys, the Jokic, even like the Julius Randles, I'll even start that low. Just people that can go through your chest will probably give him trouble to start, especially because he's so high-waisted. He's not going to have much leverage. So it's going to be super hard for him to just take those body blows, especially early on when he's so much lighter and hasn't physically developed yet. But
yeah,
as a shot blocker, as a help defender, he's going to be unbelievable. So We'll see.
I've been watching, some of the highlights. I mean, you can see them as I said, they're rolling here as we talk about them. But one thing I noticed in watching some of the video, when he does take contact, and you played enough basketball, when you get hit, you kind of you stumble backwards and you slide on the floor, uh,
Yeah.
are so dramatic. Like you said, he doesn't have a ton of leverage. He's really long legs, and it just seems like he has trouble kind of staying on his feet sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be compounded against, like you said, guys like Julius Randle, against Jokic, against the bigger centers in the league. So
Mhm.
I think I do agree. I think they'll probably try to keep him away from the five, at least defensively, because bodying up these guys is going to be tough.
Yeah.
For a couple years. I mean, he's only 19. He's got time to
Yeah.
physically mature,
And
but
yeah, there's going to be other things that come up. Like offensively for him, he's going to have to go against guys that are not as tall as him, obviously, but 7-footers that have really long wingspans. I mean, you can see right here on the highlight, there's not a lot of 7-footers in the league he's playing against. I mean, these are 6'8", 6'9" guys,
for sure,
not super long arms.
For sure.
It's going to change some of the angles with some of the guys, but he's still obviously going to have a longer wingspan and be taller than those guys still.
Yeah.
Playing even like the Evan Mobleys or the Mitchell Robinsons will be interesting. Obviously, there's guys like Anthony Davis that is strong and can move like that, which Anthony Davis is obviously, as you've seen in the playoffs, just the best defensive player in the NBA. It's really not that close.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a hard comparison. The Jaren Jacksons, right? So you have to see how that goes for him also, but he'll be really good, man. If he can stay healthy, that's the biggest thing with these super tall, long guys, right? The Ralph Sampsons and stuff like that is like Yao Ming's is if he's healthy, he's an all-star MVP caliber player. But if he's not, that can be hard. And if you get one lower extremity injury as a taller guy, that can be it for you, really.
Yeah, you got to be concerned about foot problems, ankle problems, knees, even back problems at that height. It's a lot of stress on your body to be spread out over that much. And you see the block right there. I was just gonna say it's so nice to be able to have the ability, like, okay, maybe some guys in the NBA are a little bit faster, they might get by him on the baseline, but he's got the height and the wingspan to let him get by, and he can still block the shot.
No doubt, he's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, I think he'll be the best rookie. He's going to have a chance. His potential is pretty much limitless. It's pretty much LeBron James, Michael Jordan atmosphere.
Yeah. It feels like it.
All depends on if he can get there because he's that level of a prospect.
Yeah, it takes a ton of discipline, man. I mean, it can't just be, size and talent won't get you there. I mean, there's plenty of guys that have been, 6'10", 7 feet, have moved pretty well in the NBA and, have had short careers because they don't have the discipline that some of these other guys have had. Specifically LeBron James. I mean, I don't know that anyone's more disciplined than LeBron James. If you can approach that level of work ethic, then
no doubt,
it's good news. So let me ask you this: does this make the Spurs instant title contenders? Then, I mean, adding one guy like this in the NBA can be game changing. I mean, are we looking at them as a favorite in the West now or no?
No.
They didn't get that much better, huh?
He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
And their team is not good, really. Like they have decent shooters, decent wing players with Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell. I know they started Trey Jones at point guard this year. I don't know if they're going to stick with that or go in a different direction, but they have Malachi Branham, who was a rookie from Ohio State last year.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Sohan, who was a rookie last year from Baylor, top 10 pick, I believe. So we'll see, but I think they're a couple of years away, I would guess.
You can see them starting to build something. They've got the young core there. I mean, you can see them starting to head that direction.
Yes, it's definitely possible. What do you think?
I don't ever count Greg Popovich out of anything. It terrifies me that he's going to get this generational talent now.
Well, I definitely think they can make the playoffs. It's just contender.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think they could look a lot like a Cavs team, next year. Maybe not quite the 4 seed, but get into the playoffs and then, maybe get a little overwhelmed in the first round by someone who's just more physical than them. I think that could be
definitely see like an OKC path for them where they play in this year and then next year they go on.
Then the conference finals, and then you start to ramp up the expectations after that.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean, it all depends on how one guy's going to have to progress at an amazing rate. I mean, even as talented as he is, there's still a ton of development there.
Yeah, no doubt.
There always is in the NBA. There's no sure prospect in the NBA. It's so hit or miss. It's always wild to me. Like sometimes if you don't really get a top 7 or 8 pick, you're not making a huge impact on your team, and that's
No,
crazy to me.
no, unless you get lucky. Even top 7 or 8 may be pushing it. I mean, you look at the top like 6 through 8 picks in recent drafts. I mean, there's a few, but like
It's been
a lot of
underwhelming.
them aren't great. It's just not very good, like to be in that spot because you're kind of in a tough spot. Do you want to draft just potential and go for a boom or bust, or do you want to draft for a guy who can help you right now?
Yeah.
So you're stuck in the middle of two worlds. So it's really hard because you're not getting the top of the top, but you're also getting a super, super good prospect at the same time.
Yeah. Listen, baseball, I think drafting baseball and trying to scout baseball players is really tough. It might be the toughest sport to just, to purely try to guess what a guy's going to be.
No doubt.
Basketball, I think, is harder because you have a lot smaller talent pool, right? Like baseball, we've seen teams get guys from the 40th, 50th, 60th round of the draft, and they've gone on to have Hall of Fame careers. I mean, that happens. Very rarely does anyone go late second, early third round, whatever, in the NBA draft and have a solid career. Very, very rarely. The talent pool is just different. And honestly, like trying to guess how guys are going to develop and progress in the NBA,
it's a crapshoot, man. I mean, you never know.
We give these executives a lot of problems, man, but I wouldn't want that job. I wouldn't want that responsibility to try to get
no,
man, you never come off of that. You never get off the hook. If you make a bad draft pick, Anthony Bennett, you never get off the hook of that. Like you're associated with that forever.
Hey, we also drafted Deion Waiters.
Like I said, man. Like I said. I think he's going to be a great player. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think the Spurs are instant title contenders, but they got better.
They got. If it's not getting LeBron James, this is like the same thing as a prospect or better. As a prospect, we've seen what LeBron has become, and it's, oh my God, he's either 1A or 1B as a basketball player ever.
Yeah.
So you see that, and you're like, oh, he was the greatest prospect ever. At the time he was drafted, he was the greatest prospect ever. No doubt, it wasn't close.
Right.
But now you see this, and this dude is probably as a prospect, 7'3", like 8-foot wingspan, shooting touch of a Kevin Durant, good handle, shot blocker. It's probably the best prospect we've ever seen.
So his ceiling is a little higher than LeBron James. Where's his floor? Where's his floor compared to LeBron coming out of, not out of high school, but into the draft?
That's hard to say. It's so because especially for both of them, it was hard to say where their floor was because LeBron is coming out of high school. It's like, okay, this kid just turned 18 last week. He's the first pick. Oh, he comes in and it averages 20. Like we don't think that's possible, right? We don't think this guy that's possible for the floor. I mean, that was his floor. That was the worst he could be, is 20 points a game and like 5 assists.
Right.
So it's really hard to say where his floor will be. I would say his floor is like, man, that's so hard because there's not dudes like him.
Yeah, I thought this was a good question. It's a stumper, man. It's tough.
It's hard to think of somebody that you could really compare him to.
He's so different. He's so generationally just different.
Ceiling is literally like 7'3" Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
like that's what a ceiling is.
That's terrifying.
But the floor is also crazy. Like the floor is probably an all-star level player, I would guess. Like the floor is like he was a 7-time all-star. He was really good. He made like 4 all-NBA teams.
Yeah.
Finished top 5 in MVP voting.
Yep.
That's probably his floor if he's healthy. Like that's probably his floor.
If he's healthy, that's it. And I was gonna say, regardless of who you root for, I mean, you hope for for health for this kid. I mean, you never want to see a generational talent go down and not be able to perform. I mean, Greg Oden comes to mind. I think Oden would have been an absolute monster in the NBA.
Really good, but we're talking about like there have only been 2 prospects ever on this level of what we're talking about.
Oh, he's way beyond Greg Oden. I mean, way beyond Greg Oden.
Like we got people have to look at this moment like this could be historical in the NBA of there's been 2 dudes like this ever.
Yeah.
And one is considered by a lot and considered by others either the greatest of all time or the second greatest of all time player. And this dude is coming in with the same type of hype coming out as a 19-year-old kid. So we're witnessing something that we've only witnessed once ever. And I was a little 3-year-old kid when that happened. Like
Yeah.
We don't see stuff like this. Doesn't happen. This will
No, it
not.
doesn't. It reminds me kind of Kevin Garnett, I guess, because of the size and the skill set.
Yeah, that's hard to put on a guy too, because that's one of the best power forwards ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, listen, he's going to spend his whole career trying to live up to the expectations. You know,
Oh,
it's they're there.
Oh man.
So
I mean, it's hard. Like, yeah, you get those expectations put on you from that. He hasn't played a game yet, and it's he's got to be one of the best ever to live up to the hype.
Yeah,
So
we'll see what the mental makeup is, I guess, right?
Yep.
For the physical makeup is there too. So let's stay in the NBA. I want to talk about speaking of, we talked about the finals, heading into the show. The Western Conference Finals started last night. Really good game, man. The Nuggets took down the Lakers 132-126 in game one. I don't think that was that unexpected. But you talked about it. We discussed it briefly before the show. I mean, the Nuggets shot the ball exceptionally well, man. Can they keep that up?
I don't know if they can. Like, I'm pretty sure like Jokic can keep scoring like that. I'm pretty sure Jamal Murray can keep scoring like that. Where it gets iffy for me, are we really going to get 21 from KCP every game? Are we really going to get 16 from Bruce Brown every game?
Yeah.
And my problem with Denver is they're truly 6 deep. They don't go deep. They can't go deeper than 6. They don't have much lineup versatility when it comes to their guys. All of them are obviously super good, and they're built perfectly around Jokic with Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon and all those guys.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, if one guy doesn't have it going, he still has to play.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now.
That's fair. I mean, listen, it's not like the Lakers were bad. I mean, you saw LeBron James and Anthony Davis combined for 66 points, 22 rebounds, I think, and 12 assists between the two of them. That's fine. They were great. But when you really look at it, I think Jokic was just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Jokic is like one of those guys that reminds me. It's like having two guys out there. I mean, 34, 21, and 14. Just easy triple double. Like, I mean, easy triple double. He makes it look so easy, even though I've said it before on the show. At the same time, he makes it look really difficult because he looks grumpy all the time. He looks like he's like, doesn't want to be out there. But I don't know that anybody else in the NBA could really run that offense. Could you run it through anybody else?
He's could anybody else run that offense? Yeah. Well, not anymore. He's 38 years old now.
Yeah.
But
that's who comes to mind. Yeah, that's it.
Jokic is a different breed. He's a different human being. 34, 21 rebounds, 14 assists. So he's a special, man. But 80 was also special. He had 40. LeBron had 26. It was all efficient shooting because the biggest thing for the Nuggets is Jokic can score one-on-one all he wants, but they need to get others involved.
Yep.
The biggest thing for the Lakers is they can get easy offense because of what Jokic has to do as a defender. Obviously, he's super limited in that way.
Yeah.
He's very not immobile, but like he's slow-footed.
Just laterally, there's not a ton of mobility there. Yeah.
And he's not a high jumper. He doesn't really contest your shot at the rim. I mean, going to the rim, if LeBron goes by the first defender off a pick and roll, who is he worried about seeing at the rim? Nikola Jokic, I think he's okay with that. I mean, everybody's going to be like, well, Anthony Davis had 42. They won but the Nuggets still won. If you saw the shots that Anthony Davis got, I mean, a lot of them were 4-foot floaters just over and over again that were wide open because Jokic can't really contest that or get over in time to contest it. And LeBron, I do think what the Nuggets need to do a better job of not switching Jamal Murray onto LeBron. I thought that was they let it happen way too easy.
Yeah.
But when that started happening, they decided to high hedge and then recover back to his man. It was leaving Austin Reeves wide open, and Austin Reeves hit, I believe, 3 big threes.
Yeah, he took advantage of it, yeah.
So it's just really hard for both teams. I mean, both of these teams are obviously really good. I mean, when you have LeBron, I know he's old and all. He's probably still a top 10 player in the NBA, newsflash. That's probably realistic. Yeah. I know he's on the downward spiral of his career, and he's still top 10. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, I don't know if there's 5 players better than him in the world.
Yeah. But when he's healthy and totally engaged,
the Nuggets have the best player in the world right now to me. So
he's the most versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the series goes.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, it was the quick start. What they score 82 points in the first half.
yeah,
And even more specifically, I mean, Jokic in the first quarter, 12 rebounds, 5 assists in the first quarter.
yeah, dominated.
Wow. I mean, what you talk about a quick start, man. That's a power move.
No doubt. He tried to assert dominance, and he did. No, he didn't try to. He did.
Yep.
Um, he put it on AD. AD wasn't really running back in the first half. People might attribute that to the altitude. First game in Denver, your lungs
Yeah.
were burning up. But you still got to get back. It's the playoffs. But
Yeah.
it was really interesting to see just Jokic come out and dominate like that. He was awesome. I mean, best player in the world to me right now. I don't think it's that debatable at the moment, especially with Giannis out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's just a different beast, man. But we'll see. I think this is gonna be a great, great series, man. I think
Shaping up like it.
Come down to it. Lakers made some adjustments. Denver made some adjustments. I think the biggest thing for Lakers was showing that they could put a different body on Jokic with Rui Hachimura, big, strong body,
Yeah.
6'9", 6'10", really strong guy, and then
that seemed to slow him down quite a bit.
Put Anthony Davis. The biggest thing was putting Anthony Davis on their worst shooter, who's Aaron Gordon, who can't really. I mean, he can obviously make the open occasional three, but you live with him shooting.
Yeah.
And so if Jokic beats him or spins off of Rui, he's got to run straight into Anthony Davis, and that is a whole nother beast in itself. So, but the Denver did a good job of moving Aaron Gordon around late in the game, going to just more straight isolations, and hopefully getting a double from one of the other guys so that it could create open looks. Jamal Murray made some really tough shots. I mean, if you saw some of the shots, you'd be like, oh, wow, I think the Lakers can win. I also think the Lakers can win, but I also think Denver could win. I think this series will probably come down to, like, you'll look back and be like, oh, this came down to this play, that play, and this play.
Yeah.
It'll come down to like 3 or 4 plays in the whole series that'll make you think that either won the series or lost that team the series. So
yeah,
we'll see what
usually
happens.
In these type of series, there's always like a couple of clunkers, but I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like there's going to be a blowout. I mean, there's always a blowout. It's hard to say there's not going to be a blowout in this series, but it feels like they're so evenly matched. And something that you said with being able to use Anthony Davis as kind of a help defender against anybody really. It's kind of we saw how that worked out for the Knicks against the Cavs when the Cavs had Isaac Okoro out there who was an offensive black hole. It couldn't shoot the three, and again they just didn't have to pay any attention to him on the perimeter. I mean, they were kind of able to sag down and stop Donovan Mitchell from getting to the rim, and there was no one to find open. I mean, Okoro was out there open, but he wasn't knocking down shots. So
and imagine that guy being the best defensive player in the world who's 7 foot with a 7'6" wingspan. So
right. So it's not time to panic for the Lakers, right? I mean, you expect you go in and split on the road, you're happy, right?
I think the Lakers went into the locker room thinking, okay, that was probably the best punch they could have gave.
Yeah.
From an all-around supporting cast standpoint, making some shots that you just got to live with at the end of the day. They probably, like the LeBron's, to the Jamal Murray shot that he made, like over his head over LeBron at the end of the shot clock. LeBron just good for you, man.
Cool. You knocked it down. Yeah. Keep doing that.
Do it again.
Right. So listen, we talked about it a little bit. You kind of got into it, but I mean, just kind of to recap it and round it up. And what do the Lakers have to do to win Game 2 now? I mean, to come away with the split, what do they need to do?
I just think they have to come out with the same intensity they played with in the second half.
Fair.
Get to their stuff earlier in the shot clock on offense, but I'd keep attacking Jamal Murray. I think if you can wear him down, especially on the defensive end, that makes it harder for them on offense because he's their best secondary shot maker. Obviously, he's averaged like 27 in the playoffs. So if you can wear him down, have LeBron just bump him. I mean, whatever LeBron weighs nowadays, I don't know if he slimmed down some. I know he's 280 in Miami and 270 when he was back in Cleveland. Maybe he's 260, 255 now. Right. Taking bumps like that in the post every day isn't going to be fun.
Right.
And then just, I don't know how early I'd push the Rui on Jokic button to go to that. I'd probably want to save that later in the game. Yeah. Because you want Rui to have some energy later in the game to really try to push him out and be physical with him, right? But you have to do some different things. I don't think you start D'Angelo Russell this game. I think he was a liability defensively, and I think he was just not good offensively. I do think you start Rui Hachimura. I do think you start him. but I don't
Yeah.
think you start him on Jokic. I think you just start AD on Jokic and play from there. But I
That's
think they
fair.
have a good chance of winning game two, getting more acclimated to the altitude
Yeah.
and just coming out knowing that, okay, like early in the game, we have to come out with a better punch than we did because that was awful and that lost us the game. We lost by
Yeah.
6 points.
Yeah. Hey, but it says a lot about about a team that was in the play-in, that they can come out and trade punches with the clear one seed in the West. I mean,
Oh, no.
Denver's so good, and they look what they did. I mean, they gave up 82 points in the first half and then lost by 6. I mean, they're right there. They're just as talented.
This is going to be a great series. I think I'm looking forward to this one big time. I could see it going 7
Yeah.
for sure. Obviously, don't predict 7 because that's really hard to predict.
Yeah.
I hope it goes 6 for the Lakers' sake.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a LeBron guy. I don't hide that. I'm a little biased, but
It's okay.
I do think at the end of the day, I did pick the Nuggets to win the series in 7.
Cool. Yeah.
I think they're probably a little better, but it's really close, man. If you said the Lakers were better, I wouldn't hate on you for it.
No, the Lakers have just gotten healthy at the right time, and they found these rotations, and they found that kind of these like defensive keys, and they're just kind of everything's just going really well at the right time for them, really.
I mean, 50 points in the second half for Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can hold them to 55 in the first half, or even 60.
Even 60, yeah, 70 even.
Yeah.
And I think that shows you that, like I said, they were able to, come out and kind of swing with them a little bit and trade punches, but B, they were able to immediately kind of assess what was going on, not so much fix it, but put some resources on it and limit the Nuggets' success there. And that bodes well for the future for the series. I think.
For sure. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a great one.
All right, let's bring it back east. I mean, we got the Eastern Conference Finals. They're underway tonight, 8:30 on TNT. I mean, I don't know if anybody really expected a Heat Celtics matchup, but here we are. So let me ask you, besides being Jimmy Butler, what are the keys to this series?
Who guards Jason Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
Who guards Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
How does Bam play in this series? How does he play against Al Horford? Is he aggressive? Can he score well? How do the Miami role players shoot like Strus and Duncan Robinson? How does Marcus Smart play? Does Al Horford shoot it better this series than he did against Philly? All depends. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Defense for both teams should be good. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is a tough series for me. I'll be honest with you. It's not very entertaining to me. It just feels kind of like a blah series to me. And I don't know if that's indicative of how I feel about the teams or their style of play. I really don't know what it is, to be honest with you. I'm just sort of not as excited about this series as I am the Nuggets-Lakers series. Nothing against these teams or whatever. I don't know. The matchup is just different to me. It's not as exciting, I guess.
It's not.
I can see, and Jimmy Butler's been the guy, right, in the playoffs. But what happens if he goes cold? I mean, where do they turn? I mean, is this a 5-game series?
Oh, yeah. I think if Jimmy Butler's not playing well, I think it's a 5, maybe 4. It all depends, man. It also depends if Jason Tatum runs cold or not, because he's hot and cold. I mean, he went.
That's true.
That's true. What, 1 basket going into the final quarter of Game 6 where they were about to lose, and then scored 16 in the fourth, and then 51 the next game. I mean,
right.
It all just depends who's running hot and cold. Obviously, that's the playoffs. It's a make or miss league, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can't really have that in your tool bag to rely on to turn it on like that. I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. But I think it'll be a great defensive series. If you want to watch defense, I think this is the series for you.
I think I agree, and maybe that's why I don't like. Maybe subconsciously, maybe I want to see some buckets getting scored here. I don't know. Normally, I'm a defensive guy. As a pitcher, I love any sport. I love a defensive struggle, like the strategy of trying to figure out, how you're going to score, how you're going to win, whatever it is. So who wins tonight? Who wins Game 1?
Boston.
Boston wins Game 1? I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would pick Boston to win Game 1. They've had enough rest days in between the Philly series. And I just think, obviously, Jimmy Butler finished the series out, but he was still playing on a hobbled ankle after he sprained it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, health is a concern. And it just sort of feels like, again, nothing against the Heat, but it just sort of feels like maybe their time is running out. Like, it's just sort of like Okay, the run might be at an end here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've thought that ever since they made the bubble run to the finals and lost to the Lakers, and
Yeah.
then were got swept by the Bucks the next year, and then came back and
Yeah.
went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and were a Jimmy Butler 3 away from going to the finals. So
Yeah.
it all just depends. I
Never
think it
know.
all just depends.
You never know.
We'll see.
Again, that game that's tonight on TNT. Um, I'm sure I'll check it out. Like I said, I'm not quite as excited to watch the game as I was last night, but it's okay. I'll check it out. So staying in the NBA because we've got some unfortunate things to talk about, man. What's going on with Ja Morant again? Like what happened here? Yep.
Stupidity, just clear disregard for anything he was supposed to learn.
Yeah.
He's not caring at all.
Yeah.
It's just, is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't want to get into the ins and outs of it. I just think you have to make better decisions. I know that I think it was Stephen A. Smith that went on, I won't say a rant, but he talked Monday about, blaming Morant's company that he keeps, right? Like his friends, his guys, right? The people around him. Okay, yes and no. Listen, Ja Morant is an adult. Okay, he has the ability to make decisions one way or the other. It's not like his friends are forcing him to do these things, and he feels threatened. I mean, you could see his buddy trying to help him out. I mean, the phone swung away from, I just don't think you can just say, oh, it's the guys around him. If you just change the guys around, I don't think that automatically works for everybody, right?
There was no guys around him at the strip club when he put it on his Instagram live. He was
Yeah,
alone.
I mean, right? I don't know. I just think you have to make better decisions, and he's young. I mean, to sit here and judge someone in their early 20s, if I had been given millions of dollars in international fame in my early 20s, I don't know that I'd have made the best decisions either. I'm not trying to throw stones.
I'm 23 right now. I would.
Yeah.
I'm honest. You guys would see me on some mug shots for sure, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be like public intoxication type of things.
I hear it. You be Baker Mayfield running from the cops, man. I hear it. I
keep
get
it
it.
simple.
Keep it real simple, right? Listen, I don't think Ja's a bad guy, right?
No.
I think he just needs to maybe, I don't know. I mean, the prefrontal cortex doesn't really develop until your late 20s, early 30s. Maybe he's just having some struggles with the decision making there.
Yeah.
I hope it goes well for him. Listen, how long is he going to be suspended? I mean, what do you think? I mean, is it 20 games? Is it 50 games? Is it more? Is it a season? I mean, where are we at right now?
I think it's at least 15 games.
15? Okay.
I would guess 15 to 25 in that range.
That feels right, a quarter of the season. I think you're probably looking at a pretty heavy fine as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then also financial ramifications down the line of just maybe not getting the contracts and not getting some of the endorsements that, he would have gotten otherwise. I mean, I think there's going to be a huge financial hit for him for this.
Just got a signature shoe. Will he get another one now from Nike? Probably.
Yeah. Do they drop him now? I mean, who knows what happens? And listen, so let's say the NBA announces tomorrow that Ja Morant is suspended for 25 games, right? That's over a quarter of the season, right? Is there any concern then for a guy who struggles with off-court decisions about being away from the team and away from the organization and away from any team activities for, I don't know. I mean, how long is that in the NBA? 2.5 months? 3 months?
There's obviously concern there, and it's a little scary if that happens, but you just got to trust that you as an organization can put the right people around them or in close contact with him to make sure that he's staying in the right mental headspace.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be things he can't do.
Yeah.
I would say, as a team, you could say, hey, if I see you here, it's a fine. If I see you here, it's a fine. If you do this on this and you're with this person on Instagram Live, fine. So you just need to really come down heavy on him, I think. I think as an organization, you just got to be like, if you are doing stuff that can get you in trouble, I'm not talking about going to the club and having fun. Buddy is 23 years old. He's a young man. That's what he's going to do. I mean, that's just life.
Right.
Like, you want to have fun with your friends.
Right.
I'm talking about like putting yourself in bad situations or hearing stories about punching kids or something like that. So
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
just gotta be a little smarter.
Yeah, there have just been so many little things, and it's not like I know a lot of people are like, well, listen, he's an adult. I mean, it's America. He's allowed to own a gun. He's allowed to carry. Sure, absolutely, he is. But then there are other sides to that. I mean, he's in a vehicle, brandishing a weapon, which I mean, for you and I, man, that's a felony. Like if we get caught pulling a gun in a vehicle, right? Like that's a We're looking at felony charges.
No doubt
Um,
about it.
and there's that side of it, and then there's he's obviously representing not only the Memphis Grizzlies but the entire NBA. Every company that does business with either Memphis or the NBA is by extension he's representing those companies as well, and they don't want that negative light. None of those companies, none of those sponsors, none of the nobody wants that kind of attention, right? On the league, on the player, on them, whatever it is, nobody wants to be associated with that. So, yeah, he's not only in trouble with the Memphis Grizzlies, but I mean, he's getting some hot water from the NBA now, right? I mean,
Yeah, big time. You're lucky David Stern's not the commissioner anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely a players' league, but I mean, you got to do something here. I mean, you've got to do something. If not, I mean, just for his own good. I mean, get him back on the right track. I mean, for the love of God, man, like I don't want to see the kid doing bad. I don't want to see him get in trouble. It's not that I need him to be punished. I want him to make better decisions. I want him to do well.
I want to see him make his money, take care of his family.
Yep.
He'll do what he set out to do because this is what he set out to do. This is what he likes to do. So yep. I want him to, just find his way.
Yeah.
And just be the person he can, because I haven't heard that he's like this terrible person and everybody hates him. Like his teammates like him, people around him like him, people that meet him like him. So you just gotta find out who you are really. So
and that's not easy in your early 20s. Listen, nobody says it's easy, right? I mean, it's tough. I've been there, man. It's really tough, I've been there almost twice. I'm in my second early 20s, still trying to figure out who I am. So it's not easy, man. But let's get on. I don't want to talk about John Morant anymore. Hopefully he does well. Like I said, I want to be clear. We're not trying to disparage the guy at all.
No doubt.
Just talking about the facts of the case, and I really want it to turn out well for him. So hopefully it does. Speaking of turning out well, the Browns, kind of a surprise move. I didn't see it coming. I had heard at one point that they were kind of like, there were rumblings that they were involved with someone on the defensive line somewhere. I didn't know it was going to be. It's Zadarius Smith. I mean, three-time Pro Bowler Zadarius Smith from the Vikings. How'd they get him? What happened?
Guess it's just aging. I guess so. Vikings tried to get him out maybe, but before he got hurt last year, I mean, I'm pretty sure he had like 9 sacks in 10 games. So
yeah. He had the knee or what? Yeah.
He's a really good player, multi-time Pro Bowler. I mean, he was amazing in Green Bay. Every year. I think he was an All-Pro once over there. So I think it's a great pickup for us. We didn't really have to give up that much either. So that's big time.
Yeah. I mean, they 2 fifth-round picks, right? One in 2024, one in 2025. They got a couple of picks back. I know that the Vikings were probably trying to create some cap space or whatever, but they are actually paying a portion of his contract for this year. So listen, I think it's a really, really just low risk, high reward kind of a move for the Browns. Some fans are still going to beat him up if it doesn't turn out well, but I mean, how badly can it turn out? I mean, they're not paying his entire salary. They've just given up 2 fifth-round draft picks, which what do you get in the 5th round? If you're lucky, organizational depth, right? Maybe some special teamers. This is a great risk. I think it's a good risk to take.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the depth they're building that defensive line with Ogobo, Ogronkwo, now Zadarius Smith, Isaiah McGuire that we drafted in the 4th round from Missouri.
Yeah,
it's just continuing to build depth, man. And
in a place where you really, really need to have depth in the NFL. I mean, guys are just too big and they go at it too hard to have 4 or 5 guys who run out there on the defensive line.
No doubt. And we drafted a guy last year, Alex Wright, who can develop too. So we got guys, man, and Dalvin Tomlinson and Ika and all guys like that, BJ Hill, so we got depth down there, man, and I just think the revamp of the defensive line has been huge for us. I think that's going to be huge moving forward because, to be frank, I mean, we needed it. I mean, I've never seen a more high school, middle school game than the Falcons game when they threw like 7 or 8 times and won because we couldn't stop the run. I mean, we don't have big linebackers. We need to keep them off those guys. So
Yeah.
I think we've done a great job. I think Andrew Berry's done a great job. Now we got to see if we can coach for real or not. We'll see what
That's
happens.
it. That's going to be it. Yeah, it's going to be up to Jim Schwartz now. And listen, I think you bring up a great point. And it's something that I was going to mention about the defensive backfield, but I almost forgot about the linebackers. Yeah, I mean, stacking up on the defensive line does a lot of things. I mean, you can't acquire all of this depth at every level of the defense in the offseason. You just can't do it, right? Unless you're extremely lucky. So I think, like you said, just beefing up the defensive line, putting some bodies there that are going to free up linebackers to make some plays is huge. I mean, in the running game, because that's where the Browns have struggled. But they've also struggled late in the game. They give up a ton of passing yards in crucial situations. And I think if you've got a guy like Zadarius Smith, who, by the way, 54 and a half sacks in 8 seasons, so far in his career, is, that's huge. Those are big numbers. You've got him teamed up with Myles Garrett now and like some depth on that defensive line. I really think you help out the defensive backfield too. Guys don't have to cover as long. If you got a couple guys that can get there, you know what I mean? You're not running around trying to follow receivers all over the field. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, for sure. And we did just a great job of just rebuilding it. And I think it's big for Myles Garrett too because at end of games he's very winded a lot when you see that. Now you got a good rotation. I feel like that you can keep him pretty fresh for the fourth quarter if you need to. So
and he probably, I don't think you'll see as many triple teams anymore either. I mean, you've got to,
no doubt.
there are too many, you got to spread out too many resources on that line. There's just too many guys to account for.
Yeah, you could go to a Rushman package if you want to, sliding one of them inside and having Miles, Darius, and Agobo out there all at the same time. So we'll see what happens, man. They could have some fun this year.
Yeah, he's not too far removed from having 26 sacks in 32 regular season games with the Packers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's a freak.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, if he's healthy, he could be extremely disruptive up front, right? I mean, extremely disruptive.
I mean, the dude was amazing and like ridiculous in Green Bay.
Yeah. And I know the injury history is there. Like you said, the knee injury last year, but he was off to a great start. And the knee injury was a contusion. It wasn't
double-digit sacks.
Yeah, and it wasn't a structural thing, the knee. It was just a knee contusion that limited his lateral movement. I mean, that's going to kill you as a defensive lineman when you can't, when you can't put that foot in the ground and plant and move and get off of that, whatever move it is. That's tough. It's tough to get to the quarterback. I mean, it's already hard in the NFL, but you're not going to beat many tackles if you don't have one leg, or at least the cut on one leg. Because like I said, he did miss all but one game, I think, in 2021 with a back surgery. And I don't know, I wasn't able to find out a ton of information on that. Do you know what the back surgery was or what happened there? I wasn't able to find anything really specific.
Yeah, I do not know what it was for, but
okay,
like at least early in the season, like I said, the first 10 games with the Vikings, he had 9 sacks. So at least it looked like he was still himself for the most part. So
no concerns with him, getting low and I don't know. You have to bend a lot as a defensive lineman. You got to move. You can't just stay straight up and bull rush every play, right? Like
you need big bend as a defensive line.
Yeah, hopefully the knee is fine. It's a contusion. I'm not worried about that. I am slightly more concerned about the back from a couple of years ago because that's the kind of thing that can definitely flare up on you, man. I mean, backs are really scary. Anything with your spine, necks and backs are really scary. Hamstrings, even just anything core related, really is terrifying because they're all nagging injuries. They all stay with you for a really long time.
Yeah, and better pass rush makes the secondary look better. Better run defense, better run defenders up front make the linebackers look better. So it all starts with the defensive line to me. So I think we could have a really good year. Tough division, obviously.
Yeah.
It all depends on one guy if he's actually good anymore or not on the offensive side of the ball. But we'll see.
He's got to step up. Period. I mean, enough talk. Like he has to go out and physically do it now. You got to perform. That's it.
We've given him enough now.
Yeah, they're going to have a whole off season. He can work with his receivers. He's in this offense. He's been in the offense for over a year now, almost a calendar year now.
Yeah, traded for receivers, drafted receivers.
You're putting weapons around him. He's got a decent enough offensive line. I mean, yeah, the left tackle isn't ideal. I know Jedrick Wills has had his struggles. Maybe something happens and that position gets solidified this year. Who knows? I don't know.
Best running back in the NFL. I mean,
yeah,
if it doesn't work this time, it's on him squarely.
Yeah, and maybe if it doesn't work this time, it might be time to consider just blowing the whole thing up and restarting, right?
Yeah, it would be great to do that if we could. The problem would be that but they're gonna look at the Deshaun Watson contract and be like, I'm not taking that.
Of course not. Of course not. So yeah, my point is by saying that the Browns are stuck in this for 4 more years. Whatever happens, it's going to happen for 4 years. I told you off the show, the CBS Sports article. They kind of played their schedule game a little bit and picked wins for every team. And man, they've got this AFC North looking pretty competitive. I mean, they got the Bengals finishing at 13-4, the Ravens at 12-5, the Steelers at 9-8, and then they've got the Browns again at 7-10. I think the Browns are a better team than that. But listen, they could go 0-6 in this division really easily.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are really good this year, I think, especially with that. Like, I don't think people understand how bad of like a passing game coordinator Greg Roman was.
Yeah,
like, he couldn't draw pass concept to save his life.
Yeah,
he didn't know when to pass the ball. Getting Monken is huge for them, and getting the players they got, Zay Flowers, like true Odell, like true receivers that can actually get open is huge.
Yeah.
Obviously, the best team in the division is the Cincinnati Bengals because for one reason they have the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He still resides in Cincinnati.
Got 2 really good receivers too.
And a top 5 receiver and a top 15 receiver probably in the NFL.
Yeah. So those teams are both scary. I think Lamar. I think, sometimes I know guys sometimes get blamed for, taking their money and running and checking out. But I think Lamar is going to play with a newfound freedom. I think he could be really scary.
Lamar's got something to prove.
Yeah.
He's hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. He negotiated this contract angrily, right? Like,
and
I think he's that guy. I think that's going to motivate him.
And he got told he didn't play in the playoffs not because of his knee, but because he didn't want to. When everybody on the team said he was dragging a leg around trying to come back and they wouldn't let him. Right. So we'll see. He's had to hear a lot, and we'll see what happens, and that could be very bad for the Browns.
Yeah, shoulder chip Lamar Jackson terrifies me a little bit, right? Like, I don't like to hear that. And then the Steelers just feel like they could go 11-6 at any time,
Yeah, Mike Tomlin, man.
Yeah, you never count them out. I mean, they're already predicted to go 9-8. I mean, it feels like if a couple of things happen, they win 2 more games because that's what the Steelers do. And then suddenly you're looking at the Browns. I mean, they might be struggling to get to 7. You go 0-6 in the division.
We don't have an easy out of division schedule either.
No, they're not going to go 7-4 outside of that division to finish it. I don't know. I mean, if they go 0-6 in the division, you could be looking at a 5-12 finish. I mean, I don't want to say it, but man.
Oh, God.
It just feels like everybody in the division got so much better. I know the Browns got better, but it feels like everybody else is better too. I don't know. I mean, the Bengals addressed a lot of their concerns very easily in the draft. I mean, they had huge money concerns in the secondary and special team. They just casually filled all the holes in the draft, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far because we're going to get depressed talking about bad Brown stuff again. Listen, man, it was a great show. We're about 48 minutes in. We need to get out of here. Again, man, any parting thoughts at all, Aidan?
Lakers in 6. I'm just kidding. I said
Lakers in 6 again. That's fine. I like Lakers in 6. Why not? I got the Nuggets winning the finals, so I'm going to say Nuggets in 6, but that's okay.
Yeah, I got the Nuggets winning the finals also.
It's a toss-up. I mean, I think you can flip a coin.
So, I don't got really any parting thoughts. I think I got most of mine out today.
Cool. I'm glad you did.
Good talking to you, Chad, as always.
Always good talking to you, man. We're missing Ben. We hope he's doing okay. Hope everything's good. Listen, for Aidan Vance, I've been your host, Chad Bryan. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Share our videos, whatever you want to do. Just comment, engage with us, man. Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. Well, tell us what Aidan did right. Tell what we did wrong.
No.
We appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.